Whether you're watching, listening or reading this, welcome back to the Runpreneur vlog, where we're on a mission to raise £1 million for children's charities by run vlogging on consecutive days the distance of one lap around the world. It's a staggering 40,075 kilometres, so plenty of time to raise that money. I'm going to commit to running at least 5 kilometres every day, by which I'll be doing my vlog at the same time, and I'll even do it barefoot style. So for those regulars will know that I vlog about my passions, which are entrepreneurship and running, and most importantly how these topics link with helping people overcome the emotions of stress, overwhelm and anxiety by using exercise as a release mechanism. And it is a very fresh morning today, not too breezy but about 1 degree, so pretty chilly but okay running conditions. And it's Monday motivation today, where we talk about all things productivity and motivation. And today's topic is the importance of attentional space. So as always, if you like this episode, please give it a like and a subscribe, and let's get started. So, attentional space. What is it, first and foremost? Okay, well, first and foremost, it's the capacity or the space that your mind possesses for attention at a given moment in time, okay? Now, attention is such an important commodity that so many people don't realise. It's focus, ultimately, isn't it? It's focusing on something, okay? And I read a book called Hyperfocus by Chris Bailey not too long ago, and Chris is a really cool productivity expert, and he talks about the two different types of focus, being hyperfocus and scatter focus. Hyperfocus being your purposeful focus, where you're giving your attention to something that's a high level task, or something that has a meaning, that has a desired outcome that you're looking to achieve. And scatter focus, which is your creative mind. It's your ability to kind of allow your mind to wander, come up with cool creative ideas, and most importantly, recharge. Okay, so just understanding these things I've said straight away will give you an edge in productivity if you use it to your advantage. And the first thing to understand is attentional space is limited, okay? It's not, unlimited, and you have a capacity on a daily basis. And if you don't utilise it correctly, it will have an adverse effect, or certainly have a lesser desired effect on what you're trying to achieve. And what we mean by that is that your attentional space can only, it'll focus on something highly complex, really, really important, really purposeful, something that's linked to your hyperfocus setup, or it can focus on multiple or smaller, habitual, kind of lower level tasks and activities, and it can focus on several of those at the same time, which is kind of more in line with scatter focus, or more in line with low level workload. Okay, but your attentional space will drain on either outcome, on either of those scenarios. And the important thing to understand there is that if you use all your attentional space for the day on lower level work, okay, you're inevitably not going to be making the big strides to where you want to be. Okay, and it's really, really important that you kind of understand like where you're going for first and foremost, what your goals, what your milestones that you're trying to accomplish. Okay, and what are the most important tasks and activities to get you closer to that end point. Okay, now that's more than likely going to be more complex, purposeful work, which is where you want to be spending the majority of your attentional space on. Okay, because that's going to move you one step closer to your destination, and compounded over time, if you're doing this every day, you're going to reach your goals and milestones far quicker than if you waste multiple days of utilising your attentional space on kind of habitual tasks, low complexity tasks, low value tasks, because you can handle several of those at the same time. And often we think of a productive day based on the number of tick boxes we give on our to-do list. But if you've completed 10 tasks on your to-do list, but they are low-level tasks, and you think you've had a productive day, it would be far more beneficial or productive actually ticking off one purposeful task, which is moving you closer to your end point, or even not ticking any tasks and just making progress on a purposeful task, because that's what's going to get you closer to your end point, to your goal, to your milestone, not the former. So the next thing to understand is that we do get attentional space every day because it recharges, and sleep is the main driver for that. But there's a couple of hacks we can use to kind of increase our attentional space capacity throughout the day, and that's you can recharge it a little throughout the day. And we do that by breaks, because usually when you're focusing on kind of complex or hyper-focus based activities, okay, complex, high level stuff, it's going to take up quite a degree of mental, attention. It's going to take a lot of focus, and if you do that for too long, it's very energy sapping, mentally draining, and you feel kind of super tired. I mean, a prime example is if you're driving, okay, now that is a low complex task when you've been doing it, but it's more of a habitual task when you've been doing it for a long time. But if something happens in your on that journey, and you have to react and you have to really focus on something for a moment, like you nearly have an accident, touch wood that never happens, but let's just say you do, then your concentration just zips from kind of low-key scatter focus type state to highly focused, purposeful. Your attentional space just goes straight into hyper-focus mode because it has to focus on surviving. And as soon as you kind of overcome that, then you feel really drained because you've just utilised that attentional space in a very short space of time. And the same example is, if you're doing a long drive, your attentional space can be utilised by multiple lower level tasks or habitual tasks that are less complex. So i.e. if you're doing that driving a long journey, you might listen to music or a podcast while you're focusing on driving. Your mind's doing multiple things, it's thinking as well. That's still draining because you're still having to focus and process on those things. So at the end of the journey, you're tired because you've had to focus for a prolonged period of time. So how do we replenish that? Well, as I stated, having a break is really important, and that's why, when you're driving long distances, it's important to take a break and just to sit down and to recharge your attentional space. And we do that by trying to do as little as possible during those breaks, or making sure we switch over into scatter focus mode. Scatter focus is where you kind of let your mind wander. It's the creative juices. You can listen to music or audiobooks, but you don't want to do too many multiple things, because you want to give your mind the chance to recharge and replenish, so that when you get back to work or back to what you're doing, you've increased your capacity to focus on high level or more complex tasks again. So a good example would be, listening to a podcast or reading a book, eating some lunch and just listening to some music or something, or just chilling out, having a light-hearted conversation with friends. The other benefit or bonus, if you can integrate it, is exercise and getting outdoors. So it can often increase your attentional space. So I woke up this morning, had a late last night, a really busy weekend. I woke up feeling really groggy and cumbersome, and didn't fancy this at all, but I know, having done this for so long now, that this is what will bring me back up so I can have a productive day. Otherwise, historically, if I felt like that, I would often mope about, take the easy option and do low-level work, not focus, be in scatter mode most of the day, and that would end up resulting in an unproductive day. And I'm pleased to say that doesn't happen very often, if ever, now. And as a result, I've made more progress in the last 11 months of doing this running vlog than I have done in the previous 4 to 5 years. So it's pretty compelling evidence there. So I hope this is useful, and I hope you can really get kind of advanced with this stuff as well when you combine your knowledge of your attentional space. So you know how you should be using it, you know it's limited, you know you need to be focusing on your higher value or more purposeful related tasks individually, okay, rather than multiple lower level or habitual tasks, because that's what's going to get you closer to your game. You know that to recharge your attentional space, you need to take breaks, you need to rest, you need to sleep, you need to embrace your scatter-focused mind to replenish your attentional space. You know, exercise, you know the importance of that. But also, if you want to take it to the next level, it's linking that with an understanding of your biological prime time, which is your energy levels throughout the day. I mean, some people feel really good in the morning, some people feel really good in the evenings. Everybody has a different biological prime time. And what you're trying to do then is identify when you're at peak energy levels. When you're at peak energy levels, apply your attentional space to your highest value or purposeful task at that time, because you've got the energy, you've got the attentional space capacity, and that's where you can really supercharge your productivity levels. So understanding that, and then when you're feeling less energetic, that's when you can kind of use the remainder of your attentional space on the kind of lower level or habitual stuff that goes throughout your day, and where you can switch into scatter focused mode. So hopefully this hasn't been too waffly, and hopefully there's a underlying message here which people are going to understand. But as always, if you've got any questions on this stuff, drop me a comment, I'll respond to everyone. If it's a bigger topic, I'll potentially do a vlog episode and I'll tag you in. Do check out the links in my bios where you can keep up to date with my challenge of raising £1 million for children's charities by run vlogging on consecutive days, the distance of one lap around the world. And also all my content, you can watch, listen or read it. It's all catalogued nice and neatly by topic, so it should be easy to find what you are looking for. So all that's left to say is that my content is always linked to helping people overcome the emotions of stress, overwhelm and anxiety by using exercise, or in my case, run vlogging, as a release mechanism to relieve those kind of daily, weekly pressures in the form of stress. Clear your head, process what's going on, gain clarity on where you are, refocus and move on. And if you don't have these release mechanisms in place, you know, it's like pressure building up in a pipe without a release valve. And what happens to that pressure is, if you don't process what's going on in your life on a regular basis, those stresses will get more and more and more, and then they'll develop or evolve into overwhelm. Overwhelm is when you've got far too much going on in your mind, and you've got too much going on, so you don't know where to start, you don't know where to turn, and as a result, you then always have this seizure where you just don't know what to do, and then you procrastinate, and then very quickly, if you don't clear your head at this stage, it can evolve even further into panic and anxiety, and that's where you're flirting with the edge of mental health issues, and that's clearly what we want to avoid. Now, I've been there. I've lost multiple businesses because of this. I've lost multiple business partners. I've almost been bankrupt, and believe you me, it's an incredibly dark place, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy to kind of go through this experience. It's truly mortifying and horrific, and you know, in this example, if you don't release it when you get to anxiety, the pipe bursts, and in that case it's usually you that has a breakdown. So it's something we truly want to avoid. So there's no coincidence though that ever since I've been doing this running vlog for the last 11 months, I've made more progress in my life in all facets than I have done in the previous 4 to 5 years. So there's enough evidence and social proof there to show you this stuff really works. So my pledge to you and my olive branch to you is, if you are somebody struggling with this, drop me a message, okay? There's no catch, okay? There's no sale on the Runpreneur vlog, okay? It's all value giving. It's not for profit, so there's never a sale. Options to donate, but that's always optional, okay, to my children's charities that I'm raising money for, but it's never essential, it's always optional. So the help is completely free. So drop me a message, we'll jump on a quick call, and I'll talk you through, in a step-by-step way, the things you can integrate into your life that'll make a huge difference. And I know this stuff works because my own experiences, but also I've helped so many entrepreneurs and people in general, just overcome these challenges. And I always said that if this vlog helps just one person or saves one business, it's been 1,000,000% worthwhile. So the help is there. It's often free, and it's often easier asking from a stranger than nearest and dearest. So take me up on it if that is you and you are struggling with this stuff, because help is there. So all that's left to say is that please support the channel and please support the challenge, even if it's just a like, a comment and a share of my content, and most importantly subscribe. The more subscribers and followers I get, the bigger the reach, the more people we can impact, which is my main aim on this. And do check out the links in my bios where you can keep up to date with my challenge to raise £1 million for children's charities by vlogging on consecutive days, a distance of 1 lap around the world. And also, I'll leave you with always, stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.